I never really saw myself leaving Phoenix because it was my new home away from home. I have a lot of fun relationships there, so I told the people upstairs that I would be her Sabrina Carpenter any day. However, it's funny now that, let's face it, I told them that Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark are officially teaming up, and let's be honest, this is the duo that Fever fans have been begging for. However, while Indiana is celebrating their new enforcer, one person is punching the air. Melissa Smith. Yes, Smith and her partner in pettiness, Dean Carrington, were shipped off to Dallas like a return package, and no one wanted to talk a big game, but it turns out that Smith's toxic energy was dragging the Fever down like an anchor. I saw a little clip of you playing WNBA, and I thought, where is she going with this? I'm going to the WNBA All-Star game. Well, it's a win for Indiana. I thought, where is she going with this? I thought, where is she going with this? I had a brief encounter with another Indiana Fever player, Pon Clark, and it was mentioned that you might have asked her to come to the game. I totally was, and maybe the joke was on us because maybe she was asking you to come to the game? No, maybe I just created an atmosphere and it happened, but it's funny. Cunningham has been vocal for months about wanting to play with Caitlin Clark. And unlike some players who start side-eyeing her as if she stole their lunch, Sophie actually gets it and respects it. Sophie has been watching Clark light up the WNBA since day one, and instead of being resentful, she's ready to ride with greatness. Real hoopers know that when you have a once-in-a-lifetime talent like Caitlin, you don't fight it, instead you build around it. However, if you're just talking about hoops, this is a fantastic pickup for Indiana. You want to talk about a player who can fit right in with Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark on the perimeter and start most likely in that Lexi Hole spot. The defense she brings, the tenacity she brings, and the tenacity she brings make her the kind of player you want next to your two guards who are just so offensively heavy. Smith wasn't the future, she was the problem. Her attitude, office hustle, and respect for Caitlin Clark were all questionable. She was the latter, and if you can't get with that program, you're going to be left behind. Kelly Cross, the coach, came in and said, oh, you have to go, and Carrington, please. She's been more well-known for her cheap shots and social media clapback than anything she's done on the court. Remember when she tried to poke Clark in the eye like it was a WWE match? That wasn't defense, it was desperation. Smith stood by and allowed it to happen. She showed no leadership, and she just gave bad vibes, swatted at Caitlin. Did you intend to hit her in the eye? If not, could you just talk about what happened on that play? I don't even understand why I would intend to hit someone in the eye. It doesn't even make sense to me. However, I didn't know I hit her. I guess I was trying to make a play with the ball, and I guess I followed through, and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham is giving this team exactly what they needed: toughness, grit, and most importantly, respect. She's not just here to play basketball. She's here to build something special with Clark. She knows what it means to uplift a generational talent, not compete with her for attention. That's the mindset of a winner, and Fever fans are already loving it. The drama is over. Excuses aside, they are looking for players who are ready to work hard, win, and ride with Clark to the top. I'm excited for this because, honestly, I think she's a great human, too. She has a lot of pressure and a lot of eyes on her shoulders, but she handles it so gracefully, and she passes the ball, which I enjoy. Melissa Smith's departure from the Fever wasn't exactly met with tears and tributes. There weren't any heartfelt fairs, emotional Instagram posts, or a team video package showcasing her best moments because, let's face it, there weren't many fans. Instead, there was a collective sigh of relief, as if someone had finally opened a window to let the bad air out, showcasing her best moments because, let's face it, there weren't many fans. Instead, there was a collective sigh of relief, as if someone had finally opened a window to let the bad air out. It's not that Smith is talented, rather, her energy dragged the Fever down, and her lack of respect. Because of Clark, it was clear to everyone who paid attention, whether it was through lazy defense or the occasional TikTok skit disparaging Clark Smith, that she wasn't all in. Ow, Oh, I'm sorry, you poked me in the eye. Did you do it on purpose? I did not. You did it on purpose. I handed the KN as my reflex. It looked like you were just laughing. Fever fans knew it, the front office knew it, and the players probably felt it as well. Smith's departure signaled the end of that tense period of time. The message was clear. We're done with the drama and we're here to win. Sophie Cunningham is the type of player who truly understands what it means to play team basketball. Why does everyone hate Caitlin Clark? Do you? And do you hate Caitlin Clark? She's a G, and I've never really met her, but over the weekend we kind of joked around a little bit. She's a lot of pressure on her shoulders, and I think that a lot of people always have a lot to say with people they don't even know or shoes they've never been in, and I think she's handling the pressure very well. Cunningham is tough, fearless, and unapologetically passionate, and she has that scrappy edge. The type of player who will die for loose balls and then smile while draining a three in your face. The difference between Sophie Cunningham and Alyssa Smith is that Sophie is about building something, while Smith was about protecting her girlfriend. I'd like to see both sides of each party because I'm willing to go to the trenches and sacrifice for the team instead of players who have conflicts of interest. The front office may not have done it from you, but I'm not in any way hostile, so I like to see both sides. For older players in the league, for example, you know they put in a lot of work and don't receive recognition or millions of dollars before they even take the court. For them, it's all about what they're doing for the game, like while they're playing, and then for them, let's not forget about D. Carrington Smith's ride or die and partner in pettiness. Carrington, who believed that poking Caitlin Clark in the eye was a form of self-defense, later attempted to make it seem as though she was the victim. Well, Smith and Carrington are back together in Dallas, and that locker room might need a therapist on speed dial because this duo is bringing more drama than production. Good luck, Wings. Alyssa Smith is perplexed as to why Indiana Fever fans don't want her on their team. And it's really not that difficult to understand, Alyssa. Let me explain. We don't even need to consider any of your social media outbursts, subtweets, drama chasing antics off the court, or your passive aggressive ways. You're moving the Indiana Fever one day in your bio and adding them the next day in your bio. We don't even need to consider all the unnecessary drama and garbage you bring to this team when it comes off the court. All we really need to do is sit back and watch you on the court. As Dallas prepares for impact, Indiana is quietly building a powerhouse. H. Bonner's arrival is a huge veteran presence with elite scoring, defensive versatility, and championship experience. She's the kind of player who improves others simply by being there. Natasha Howard is a defensive anchor who reigns supreme, and Kelsey Mitchell is a walking bucket. Sophie Cunningham is adding grit and leadership to the mix. All of this was accomplished without giving up Aaliyah Boston, their dominant center, and Lex Hall, their 3-and-D specialist. Oh, and don't forget that Caitlin Clark is still the best player in the league in the future. This is fantastic for women's basketball and for women's sports in general. There are a lot of new and fresh people interested in our sport, and I understand that they might be a little ignorant. However, what makes this offseason so impressive is the chemistry between the players. Every player brought in complements Clark's skill set and the team's vision. Sophie spaces, Howard locks down the paint, and Mitchell will torch you from three. This is a team built to win, so there are no egos or sides, just basketball. What does Bonner's addition now mean for the Fever's title potential? I believe the Indiana Fever, with the addition of D.W. Bonner after already adding Natasha Howard and Sophie Cunningham to the championship conversation, along with the New York Liberty and Minnesota connections in the Las Vegas Aces, the Fever no longer has that issue. They are focused, united, and hungry, and you can see the vision coming together. At the heart of it all is Caitlin Clark, the league's face, and the reason the Fever went from WNBA afterthought to must at basketball. The fans feel it too. Indiana is buzzing with excitement, and the dark cloud that hung over the team has vanished. The team is now moving as a cohesive unit, and you can bet that when the season begins, they'll be prepared to show that all of the hype isn't. Just talk. It's the beginning of something special. Sophie Cunningham is not going to put up with the hate and bullying Caitlin Clark has been receiving throughout the WNBA because, as we all know, last year was a big target for Caitlin Clark, who wanted to get an enforcer. As I keep saying, Kelly Crystal Ball is not playing around, bro. Not to mention, Sydney Colson is also in the building. She may not score 20 points a night, but her leadership and locker room presence are invaluable. She's been a part of championship cultures, and her experience will help guide this young team through the pressure that comes with title expectations. This would be the bomb. Stephanie White isn't playing fair. I have to say that again. The Fever are built differently now that they have talent, leadership, and a culture that's finally aligned. And when you put all of that around Caitlin Clark, the most electric player in women's basketball, you're not just building a playoff team, you're building a championship contender. So while Nalissa Smith updates her Instagram bio and Carrington plans her next pointless foul, Indiana is preparing to make some noise. And you can bet that Sophie Cunningham is leading that charge because she didn't come here to stroke people's egos. She came here to win, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Now, let's see who's still talking when that championship parade passes through Indiana. The future is bright, and the team is here to deliver results, not attitude. It all started by cutting the dead weight and adding players who actually care. I got frustrated watching her play, and she represented, in my opinion, the remnants of everything else that was wrong with the team, right from the Christy Sides era and everything. And last year was a good year, all things considered, and I wish the best, but I'm glad that Indiana fans no longer have to endure watching a player coast through games with zero passion, drifting up and down the court like they're just waiting for the post-game selfie, because those days are over. I don't know where all of these people believed that Nalissa Smith's value was so high, but based on her performance, she wasn't just an underperformer. Rather, she was a symbol of everything that was wrong with the old Fever culture. She was a former #2 overall pick who was supposed to be a cornerstone and a building block for the future, but instead she became a player who showed flashes of potential, but never made it stick. When it came time to rally around the biggest star the franchise had seen in years, Caitlin Clark-Smith demonstrated her priorities, and they weren't with the team. She goes to the wings and gets a fresh start, and hopefully that works out for her.